Eric, we need music. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another round of Mind Your Fucking Business with your host, Jeffrey Klinsman.
Thank you, Dougie Sticks. Thank you. From the beautiful studios of Undefeated Media here in Bergen County, New Jersey. This is the Mind Your Fucking Business podcast, brought to you, of course, by the Bamboozle Project and DraftKings, who we thank both for their sponsorship. This is episode 218, 218, if you're following on the Spanish style. And I forgot to mention, very important, when we're talking about numbers, the number of 20% off your order. Use promo code MYPB on the aforementioned, the Bamboozle Project website. You can actually use that for anything that is on the site, not just the MYPB stuff, but we do highly encourage you to go to the MYPB tab when you're there and use that promo code at checkout. We are taping this episode on Wednesday, January 28th. So if you're listening at a later date or time and you're not live with us this morning and you're wondering where were we in time when they were talking, so I know where I am. It is the morning of the first Islander game because they will play twice in the next 2 days on a home and home. You can contact us at any time at Mind Your Fucking Business, all one word spelled out. Yes, we require you to go back to your elementary school days, spelling bee, spell out at Mind Your Fucking Business on Instagram. You will find us. If you DM us, you know our cardinal rule here is that we respond to every single DM. So if you have a thought, feedback, you want to bounce an idea off us, complaint, compliment, whatever you want to do, food recipe, we'll take it. Send it to us on Instagram. You can listen to the episode live this morning on YouTube as well as Instagram Live. I believe we are on Instagram. I haven't looked yet, but I'm assuming we are from what I was told. So you can find us there, or you can stream it at a later date and time if you would like. And you can always do that at your leisure at both Apple Podcast or as well as Spotify.
Everywhere.
So if you want to get us, again, we always say if you want to get your fill of MYPB in one way or another, you can certainly find us. So we were last with you on Wednesday of last week, which was the night or the morning after, rather, of the Los Angeles Kings loss. And the Rangers had one game left to play that on that West Coast trip, and that was San Jose. So actually, really for a change for us and some like of our production here of how we kind of run through the show, there were only two games since we've been on last. The San Jose game on Friday and the Boston game on Monday. So the San Jose game on Friday, I was talking, and I don't remember who it was, but we were talking before the game about, it would be interesting to see Macklin Celebrini, who is first off, he's a Boston University product, so I like him because I went to BU. And he is an example of a number one draft pick gone right? He is a excellent example of when you get the first pick and you're kind of hanging your hat on picking someone who is of youth, of potential. He is an example of someone who works out. Now, you don't need me to tell you that because you will remember, and I'm sure you remember this, Dougie Sticks.
Absolutely.
You don't even know what I'm saying, and you say that you know. But back in October, when the Rangers hosted San Jose, Macklin Celebrini in his game at MSG, and at that point, the Sharks were winless, by the way. He had 5 points. He had a hat trick and 2 assists. So you already know firsthand that he can play. And he showed you that. He reminded you on Friday night in San Jose, because before you even put the game on, he had 2 first period goals. So Macklin Celebrini again shows you that. The Rangers had 29 shots that night. I stayed up and watched that game. I don't know why. It was pretty stupid. And it was really stupid because they were down early. They were down 3-0, actually. Why I kept that on, I don't know. What you like, I guess, if you're going to dissect this stuff, but you like the fact that they had 29 shots. I mean, I'm pinning optimism on a stat because there's not a lot of other optimistic things to say these days. But I will say that if you watch that game in the second and third when they were down, a lot of the opportunities that they had were not glorious grade A scoring chances. It almost looked like in the third period to me, particularly as that game went on, that they were kind of going through the motions of just ending a West Coast trip. Like, all right, we're out of here. Like, we've been on Pacific time since last Saturday when we got here after the Philly game. Let's pack up, move on, and go on. And I could see Dennis talking about BU. JT Miller did not go to BU. I could see that. All right.
Let me ask you this,
yeah.
because this is a common thread. I feel like every time I tune the game on, like we have more shots than the other team. How come we can't win
Not
games?
always. However, I will say that the Rangers this year, sometimes their shot count is more inflated or it's not real because the quality of chances are not great at all. Monday morning, it comes out before the Boston Bruin game that for that night's game against Boston, Carson Susi was going to be held out. And I use quotes when I say this because this is exactly the term analogy that they used. They were holding out Carson Susi for, quote, roster management, unquote, purposes. Now, when you hear that term, the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear roster management, like if it came up in my day-to-day life, like with my real job, which it never would, but if it did, it would automatically remind me of a Friday morning a little over a year ago in December of 2024 when Jacob Trouba was announced he would not play that Friday night against the Pittsburgh Penguins for roster management purposes. Now, of course, you know that 3 hours later, he was traded to Anaheim. So you knew Carson Susi was going somewhere. I don't know how this happened because it doesn't usually happen like this. Everyone was saying that he was going to the Islanders. So the trade was not done, but somehow it got leaked either by the Rangers side or the Islanders side that the reason for the roster management holdout of Carson Susi was because he was going to the Islanders. It was leaked so bad that with the return as well, that, you know, on our MYPB Instagram page, we have, you know, certain people that like to do graphics first that we put in there. The graphic was already done at 2 p.m. and we were waiting for it to be official, and it already had the accurate return of third-round pick. So something got leaked. Anyway, the Bruins game, if you watched it on Monday night. Now, Monday night also, at that point, you are home. Most likely, if you're in the New York area with the weather we had on Sunday, you've probably at that point been home for an extended period of time, right? You've now been home for a while, okay? And so you're looking to do something different than watching, in my case, Love is Blind, which is what my wife and I what we binged watched the other day. So,
like from the beginning, like where?
We were on. I think
date?
season 9. I think was the latest. We don't watch every season. We watch most, but the one that we happened to watch was season 9. And season 9, if you've watched it, don't tell me what is going to happen because I'm not there yet. But in any event,
has it been more entertaining than things that you've seen on ice?
On ice? Oh, absolutely. 100%. So the Bruins game, and I'm going to actually mention something my wife said as well with the Bruins game. So instantly they're down not instantly, but like 5 minutes or so into the game, they're down 1-0. And my wife says to me, who's a trooper who watches every game with me, why I don't know, says to me, it just seems that they're down early. Every game. You know what, Jess? You're onto something. Look at the Kings game last week, 18 seconds in. Look at the San Jose game. They're down 3-0 early. They just go down really quick. They're down 1-0. Will Cooley has a beautiful, and I mean, you want to look at a textbook deflection. I don't know if you had said to him, could you do it again? He would be able to do it again. Maybe it was some luck involved, but you look at a beautiful tip on a goal by Will Cooley, ties the game. And I want to illustrate the next goal because it's 1-1. Gabe Perreault takes the puck down the left wing. And again, Gabe Perreault is a lefty, so now he's on his natural side. He comes and feeds an absolute beautiful pass to JT Miller. I'm not saying, and I don't want you to think, because I know people get on me that I love Gabe too much. I don't know if he's here today in the chat. I haven't seen that individual. But I'm not saying that Gabe set him up and all JT Miller had to do was tap it in. Anyone could do it. JT Miller made a really good finish on it. But it was a gorgeous pass from Gabe Perreault. And if you're a Ranger fan and you're sitting here and you're watching these last 30 games of the season, praying like I am that this ends quickly enough and we can get on to the summer, one of the things that you should be watching for and you really want to see is you want to see Gabe Perreault be good. You want to see that. That is super important because if you
3 busts in a row.
because if you see Gabe Perreault not be good and you see Gabe Perreault be bad, then you've got an issue down the road. So you really need to see Gabe Perreault be of value and show you that the potential is there for him. So they go up 2-1, and then, as you would expect, the Rangers find a way to go down 1-0. I'm sorry, go down 3-2, and they go into the third. I would expect at that point that they would have gone down and just not fought. They fought back. They got a little bit of help on the Will Borgen tying goal. It deflected off the backside of the Bruins defender to go in to make it 3-3. And now you're going into overtime, right? And I want to illustrate something, and I said this on the postgame recap, and a bunch of you commented about it. So I was kind of right in the sense that my take on this, I guess, was accurate and other people were noticing it. If you watch the two shifts before Matthew Robertson scores the goal that wins it in overtime, and we'll talk about the goal in a minute, I want you to watch the effort of two players in particular, and that is Trocheck and Panarin. They are diving after loose pucks. They are making defensive plays. Artemi Panarin made a defensive play on David Pastrnak in the defensive zone. I am not sitting here saying that Artemi Panarin should be up for the Norris Trophy as best defender in the league because we know he doesn't play defense. But when he makes a play like that, it needs to be noticed. They were very good in overtime. The other thing that was strange about that overtime, and I said this to my wife as we were watching, and I didn't mean this as a negative thing or a positive thing. It just was a general observation. Normally, 3-on-3 overtimes are really exciting, right back and forth. There were not a lot of grade A scoring chances. And the person who gets the winner there, Matthew Robertson, is definitely not the person you would expect of all people to score the game-winning goal. That is a very high IQ play by Matthew Robertson. For him to read that play and realize he can go wide, take the puck in, have the confidence to do it at his age, and then also finish the play correctly is very impressive. There have been a lot of people, and I understand this take, that have been not – I've spoken with people that have said I'm not huge fans of Matthew Robertson's game this year. I don't know that I would fall into that category. I'm not saying I fall into it that Matthew Robertson is going to be a stud in this league because I'm not there yet either. But what he showed you the other day in that play is, again, high hockey IQ, confidence to make that play in that situation in overtime, and also finish the play. We will get to, I see Daniel's comment about Trocheck. If Trocheck leaves, I will be depressed. We will be talking about Vinny Trocheck and his potential leaving momentarily. So during the game, a good win for the Rangers. Look, I understand you want them to lose in some ways because you want to tank for better picks. Remember, this is not the NFL where it just goes by record. It's percentage chance. So you can finish with the worst record in the league. Look at last year. The Islanders ended up with the first pick getting Matthew Schaefer, and they had a 3% chance of getting the first pick. I believe the Rangers had the exact same odds last year of getting the first pick also and didn't. So tanking, I understand that mindset, but it's not like the NFL where it's a guarantee. Like, okay, if I finish 32nd in the league, I'm getting Gavin McKenna. Yes.
So being the optimistic that I am, sometimes you are, we are pretty much halfway, a little over halfway of the season. 47 games, right? There's 80 games in a season.
Yep.
So I'm not saying it's impossible, but like, are you in tank formation? I mean, you still got a little bit of, These
players aren't going to tank. I mean,
what I'm saying is, do you think that we could make a run and potentially bring this back? A little halfway. No, it's totally gone.
You always want, like when they win a game like Monday night, right? It's kind of exciting. It's an original six matchup. It's one of their whatever year celebration that they had, the 100th season. By the way, they did a good job seeing some of those 1994 players that you haven't thought about for a while. Like, I'll give you an example of a name that came out, and I haven't thought about this 1994 New York Ranger in forever. And then he came out in a dapper hat, and that was Jay Wells. If you remember Jay Wells, just like a hard-nosed defenseman, I think he was missing teeth when they won the Stanley Cup, if I remember. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. They did a good job Monday night, but when you see that team, you realize how far the current team is from that. And in saying that, to answer your question, they are not bringing it back. No,
we're toasted.
No.
We're cooked.
No,
you
would have to go. I don't want to say it's impossible, right? It's not, But let's be real here. Here's the other thing. If you make the playoffs, and I don't think they're going to, but if you do, what's the point of making it to be out in the first round, or for some unknown reason, Igor plays out of his mind for 2 weeks and then you're out in the second round? That's not the goal.
So let me ask you this. Pretend like we're at the beginning of the season, right? And we're playing the games to get to here. How many, how good would we have to be like, all right, we're not good, but we're going to make the playoffs? You had to
how
win.
Many games? What?
How many games did you have? Like 60% of the games
to make the playoffs.
You'd have if you to got win. Here, what would be the least amount of wins you would have to have from this point, from the beginning of the season to here, to be like, all right, we're going to make.
Well,
the
how many games?
We're 47 games right
now.
You're
47 games in.
Yeah,
I'd say at this point you would have had to have 25 wins. 25 to 30. Where are they at? I don't even know what's their record.
22 wins.
Okay.
So now we're halfway of the season.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just say you want to the next half. You want to win
here's
like
the other,
30 games.
Here's the other problem that you have.
Yeah.
Right. And you have this would matter.
Our team's the Rangers.
No. Well, that and if you look at the point differential between you and the last playoff spot, it's not just the point differential, or maybe it's not as high as you think, and it gives you optimism. It's the amount of teams between you and them that you also have to leapfrog. So it's not going to happen.
There's 19 points behind the first seed.
Like I said, it's not going to happen. During the game on Monday night, and this was super weird. Like I can't remember when this ever happened, and then it happened again last night. The Rangers announced a trade during the game, the Carson Susi trade, which again was teased all day. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching it, because it came out in the second period. The Rangers PR department literally put it out while the second period was going on. When was the last time you remember a team announcing a trade during one of their games? Do you do it before the game or after the game? I don't ever remember that. And then last night, not that we're going to get into this trade, but the Devils and Islanders made a trade. Same thing. They announced the Palat trade in the second period of the Devils and Islander game. And I'm thinking to myself,
so switch benches.
It's 2 nights in a row that I can't ever remember the Rangers or any team. But again, and then it happened last night, announcing a trade while they were playing. Like, forget the product that we have on the ice on MSG right now that is literally going up and down, north-south on the ice. Here's a trade we made. Pay attention to this.
Yeah, distractions.
But it's Dennis is saying that he was told at 4 p.m., but it's when it was announced. The teams announced it during their own games, which I just find is so weird.
It is weird.
It is bizarre. Anyway, the Carson Susi deal.
Yeah.
If anyone thinks, and I posted this on X, if anyone thinks that Carson Susi was going to get you more of a return than a third-round pick, you are absolutely out of your mind. He is also on an expiring contract and has no use to be here for the next 2.5 months. So to take a free third-round pick for him, why would you not do that? Does that mean that this franchise that drafts so well and is so good at franchising is guaranteed to make that third-round pick and make it work? No, of course not. It's not. But you'd rather take the chance. I'll take a lotto ticket and see maybe if I can get something in the third round, because I don't need Carson Susi here. The other thing is, Carson Susi came here last year. What was the price you gave up? A third-round pick. So, of course, that was his value. I don't know enough about it to tell you that Carson Susi, if you asked me last week, and you said to me, what round pick do you think they will get for Carson Susi if they move on from him? Would I have told you a third-round pick? Probably not. I probably would have thought maybe a 5th-round pick, maybe at best a 4th. So the fact they got a 3rd, and by the way, I don't give a flying you-know-what that they traded with the Islanders. I saw people say, well, why are you helping out the Islanders? First off, Carson Susi doesn't fall under the definition of helping out, right? It's not like I just gave them Artemi Panarin, okay? I really haven't. But, however, I'm all about returns. I'm not about what teams players are going to, and we're going to get into that with Panarin and Trocheck in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
My son yesterday, I was driving him in the morning, and I told him about the trade, and he said to me, Dad, why would they get draft picks back? They always screw them up. And I said, Tyler, my man.
He watches the show.
There's a lot of things I've done wrong as a parent. I did something right for you to realize that. So I have no problem. Now, the question with that deal in moving him to Long Island, is that now the first domino to fall with things behind it. There was this is very, very important what I'm about to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
There was a very important piece of information that came out this morning. It is 10:23 on Wednesday, January 28th.
Oh boy.
And this morning, and I'm not going to say his name because I always say it wrong, but Vince, I'm going to say it so you'll know who I'm talking about. And again, I always butcher the name. Vince Mercalzano, or whatever his name is, who writes, he's a beat writer for the Rangers who's very good, came out with a very, very, very important piece of information this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And that is that the Rangers are allowing Artemi Panarin to talk about an extension with teams that he could go to. Why is that important? It is super important because if he could work out an extension with whatever his destination is, his value is a lot higher. So he is therefore not a rental. So if I'm going to just pick one of the teams that he is rumored to go to. Now, I've heard him rumored to Washington, Colorado, the Islanders, the Capitals, the Flyers, the Kings, Vegas, and Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's some that I forgot to mention. So basically, what does that tell you? They're talking to multiple teams. If I am a team, I'll use the Caps as an example, and I want to get Artemi Panarin. I am going to have to give up more if I have an extension in place. So what the Rangers are doing, which is correct, is you want him to be able to sign an extension wherever he goes, because the value you're going to get in return is more, because teams are going to be guaranteed to hold on to him more than just the remaining parts of this season. Okay? So similarly, as I said, I don't care where Artemi Panarin goes. I mean, would I be maybe a little annoyed if he went to the Islanders, and especially if they signed him to an extension? Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would love him in Long Island. I guess if I had my choice, okay, I'll send him to the Kings. I'll see him twice a year. But again, you need assets. You need trade packages that work so badly. I'm taking the best package. I don't care what the destination is for him. And remember, with Panarin, because of the NMC that he has, the no move clause, he still holds a ton of leverage, like a ton of leverage. So basically, the Rangers could have a deal, just to explain again how this works. The Rangers could have a deal with, let's use Anaheim, because they love to trade with Anaheim, as we know, right? The Rangers of the West. And they could have a trade in with Anaheim that they like. And they come to Artemi Panarin and they say, you know what? We have a deal in place. The structure's done. We're sending you to Anaheim. Is that okay? Artemi Panarin can just flat out say no, and the Rangers are back at square one. So there's a lot of variables here, because you have the no move clause. You have the fact that they're trying for him to talk an extension beforehand, which in turn brings the return value up. So that was a very, 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 very important piece of information. Vincent Trocheck. I don't understand the logic of why you would not trade Vincent Trocheck. He's been rumored to go to Minnesota and Carolina. Those are the two names I hear. Remember, with Minnesota, that the Minnesota GM, we talked about this last week, Bill Guerin, who's made two very big moves already this season. He signed Kirill Kaprizov to a massive extension, the highest ever, and then he made a huge deal to trade for Quinn Hughes. He is not afraid to make moves. This is a GM that basically says, I'm going to do what I think is best to make my team better. The other thing with Bill Guerin, remember, he has a very close relationship. They work together as general managers for Team USA. So he is close with Chris Drury. If I was Minnesota, if I was any team that was thinking of making a cup run, and clearly Bill Guerin thinks that because of the two moves that I just told you he made, Vincent Trocheck helps. He's a center, so he's filling a position that is not easy to fill. He's great at faceoffs, and he's got a ton of postseason experience, and his contract is not awful. So I could see why he is valuable to another team. If another team wants to come and take him, you give him out. Now, we'll pull up Dennis's bottom comment, which is, you don't have a center here. It took you 20 years to find a semi-decent one. That's why. The Rangers would have a lock at center, but I don't need a center here for the next month and a half. I'm not going anywhere anyway. It's something I would address in the offseason, and I would take the assets back that I could get for whatever I could get for Vincent Trocheck. So I understand people are upset if he leaves. To me, Vincent Trocheck could leave. I don't understand why he is going to be here if you have the opportunity to sell him elsewhere.
So there's only 1.5 people that are safe, right? Igor and Mika.
Mika is probably safe because, well, he's safe in the sense that he also has a no move contract, and he's made it clear he wants to be here, and he's had a good year. If I was Chris Drury and I got a phone call that someone was offered interested in Mika, and that Mika was the destination he would waive his no move clause, I would listen to it. But I think Mika is probably here. If you look, and we posted this on our story, and it was a great graphic. I mean, we didn't come up with it, but it has a ton of information on it. It was potential Ranger trade chips with their contract info. So Panarin is 34 years old. His contract expiring, and his average of the contract, although again the contract is up, is 11.6. Forget the contract, because you're going to either renegotiate a new one. Artemi Panarin is gone. Trocheck is 32. He has another 3 years here. And his contract, this is why Vincent Trocheck is so impressive. If I wanted to trade for someone, his contract annual hit is only $5.6 million. He's on a very, very good contract. So if I'm an opposing GM, I would do it. So Chris is here, and I'm gonna be risky here. We're gonna pull up his comment. Can you pull up his comments? The one, and it's just saying that I will be mad that they traded the future to replace the opening center made by trading Trocheck. No, I would understand, Chris, if it came back. And Chris, you missed the point earlier. If you're late, that we were talking about Gabe Perreault's pass on the JT Miller goal the other day. We wanted your opinion of it. All right, Alexis Lafreniere, 24 years old. He makes $7.5 million. He is on a contract through 2032. Man, things change because just 15 months ago, in October of 2024, right before the opening day, when they signed Lafreniere to an extension coming off of his good playoff run in 2024, the spring, and they locked him up for 8 years at $7.4 million. You thought to yourself, and I thought to myself also, that is a great deal. What a great job. Now, he has been so bad that this contract is not good at all. I would trade. I'm done with Lafreniere. I am done. I am done. I would trade him in a heartbeat. But the hesitation, if I was an opposing GM of the 31 NHL teams, is looking at that $7.4 million and looking at the results that I've gotten on this contract in the first year and a half, and I would be terrified. The positive, if you want to spin it a different way, is that he's still only 24, and he is signed on this contract that you take until 2032. So if you can solve the massive mystery of Alexis Lafreniere, you have a lot of time to solve them to 2032. So Vincent Trocheck, we talked about. Braden Schneider is a name that keeps coming up. I don't know that I am as keen on trading him. I'm not against trading him, but I don't know that I'm as ample to do so and eager to do so. Eager is the word I'm looking for, as other people are. He's making $2.2 million a year, and his contract is up at the end of this year. I guess if Chris is still here, Chris, what would be your offer? Let's say you don't trade Braden Schneider and you keep Braden Schneider. What is a fair deal for him? He's coming off a deal that he's made 2.2. I would think he would want more than that, and he probably is justified in asking for more than $2.2 million on an annual value on his next contract. But I don't know how much more than that it is. It's not going to skyrocket. And if you said to me that I could sign Braden Schneider for a 3-year deal at maybe 3 or 3.5 in the offseason, I don't think I'd be against it for a guy who's 24. But if another general manager looks at that expiring contract, because again, his contract is up, and says, I'm going to overpay for him, why do I need him here in the next 3 months? I don't. Right? But I would. So Chris is saying that you're not signing him for 3 and it depends on term. I want to know what you're signing him for. Like, what is a fair deal for Braden Schneider in the offseason? How much am I? Because if a fair deal is $5 million, then he can go, right? Then I'm not going to do that. But if you're saying I can't get him for 3, but if I could get him for 4 and maybe 3 or 4 years, I could live with it. I don't love it, but I could live with it. But if he's going to sit here, if a fair deal for him is a lot more, then no, there's other needs that I need. Braden Snyder doesn't need to be here. I'm going to tell you a name that I think needs to be traded. And I love this player, and I think he is one of the few players here that has had a good year. He has had an extremely good year at his value. You're paying him $1 million this year, and his deal expires in 2027. So you have him for another year. And if you hold on to him, he's a bargain for next year. He's 33, and his name is Sam Carrick. I would think if I was a general manager of a team, again, I'm thinking of making a cup run, Sam Carrick is a piece you want to add, 100%. If you could add a fourth-line guy, you see how hard he plays. He's physical. He gets in the trenches. He goes in front of the net. For $1 million as a depth piece for a team that's looking to play late into June, Sam Carrick has got to be wanted by other teams. He has to be. And right now, again, I like Sam Carrick. I'm not paying him a lot. But if somebody wants him, they'll pay for that. You've got to get rid of him. You have to trade Sam Carrick. And again, it is nothing against Sam Carrick because he's been one of the bright spots. But that is an attractive contract that he's on for someone if you're trying to make a cup run. And you always need players like that, right? I was just about to say something and I stopped myself, and it's stupid, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's not fair to compare him to this guy. But he's not almost like, I don't know why I thought of this name, but like Barclay Goodrow, right? Like he fulfills a role, right? Sam Carrick would fulfill a role for a team that's playing in their conference finals in late May, Memorial Day weekend. He would be a type of player that you would want.
Nice.
So, and Chris is saying the last team that did that, everyone's favorite, should have hired Coach Saddam in the finals. Okay. Well, Chris does not like the coach. We know this. Chris does not like Mike Sullivan. So we know that. So if you look at it by contracts, those are the players I would say, right? Trocheck should be traded. Panarin should be traded. Schneider, I'm not sure of, but I could trade him, and Carrick should absolutely be traded. And I did not compare Goodrow to Carrick. I said it was the first thing that came to my mind, but I was very clear that I wasn't comparing him, Dennis. I don't know if you were listening to that. Anyone else that you guys want to see traded? If there's anyone else, because I'm gonna pull up some Instagram comments because I see there's a bunch of people on Instagram as well.
Who are we shipping? Shipping away?
Carrick is better than Goodrow, someone is saying. Laffy, you're eating part of his contract for sure. You might have to, but the only problem with eating part of Lafreniere's contract, though, is the contract that you're eating goes through 2032. So you're eating money for a long time, right? Fox, you know what? Fox to me is he's not untouchable, but I probably wouldn't move him. But would I listen to an offer for him? Yeah. So Chris is going to like this comment because Chris is not on the Instagram platform. Jews Who Infuse says, Mike Sullivan has done nothing in his career beyond inheriting a Sidney Crosby-led Penguins. Chris will like that comment because Chris is not a fan of Mike Sullivan. Look, it's very hard, and there'll be plenty of time for us in the coming months to talk about this. I understand the Rangers aren't good. Mike Sullivan did not inherit this roster. Mike Sullivan also did not inherit this culture. I understand he hasn't had a great year, but I don't know what you wanted Mike Sullivan to do. Right? I mean, what would what should he have done with this roster? That when you look at it, you say, you know what? They're out of the playoffs, but if Mike Sullivan did A, if Mike Sullivan did B, did he do C? It's not, what was he supposed to do?
Well, like the last couple of years, we've been saying they're not showing heart and passion and will. I mean, that's one thing that could have been worked on, right? No?
Yeah, it could have, but the roster construction is not good.
Well, that's
as Dennis is saying, and I agree with him, who would have done better? If I go to the coaches, and there were a lot of good coaches in the offseason, right? You still have Peter DeBoer that's still out there. Rick Bowness, who just came back and went to Columbus. There were a lot of decent coaches in the market in the offseason. There still are. I don't know who would have done better. What coach would have been out there that would have taken the roster that they were given, right, which we know very well what that roster is, and done better with it? I just don't think so. Now, Gibby's saying Neil's saying he should have played kids in prominent roles sooner. I'm fine with that, but I don't know that would have made the team right now where they are overall better. A pinch of cute on YouTube is saying Sully isn't the problem. The biggest issues is in the player's head. Yeah, there is a definite culture issue here. Ed Maturko, HTC legend Ed Maturko. Gordon Bombay could coach these losers. Just kidding. Correct. Maybe Sal. You know what? I mean, Sal Imperato is a guy, if you know the inline world, who understands, player management, roster management. I don't even know that Sal could fix the Rangers right now. And that's saying a lot. So, yeah. So we'll see what they do. They have a home and home with the New York Islanders tonight and tomorrow, which is weird, right? The Rangers haven't played the Devils yet. And the way the Devils are playing, and I watched last night, I was so happy that they lost to Winnipeg, by the way. So happy. I watched that whole game. The Rangers and Devils are about to play all 3 of their games in March, and both teams might be irrelevant, which is a screw up. So the fact that the Rangers and Islanders now play on back-to-back nights is bizarre. So they play back-to-back nights with the Islanders, and then they go to Pittsburgh on Saturday. Then next week, we are on, and then we need to talk about the forthcoming schedule that we have here because they have the Olympic break. And the New York Rangers cannot ruin your life for 2.5 weeks because the NHL has a roster freeze. I think it's February 4th to the 22nd. So they cannot actually even make trades. Wow. You will focus on Olympic hockey. And I know that a bunch of you have asked us to cover the Olympics. We haven't decided yet. It's still something we need to discuss here. But they cannot ruin your life, which is nice.
I mean, it might be exciting. We haven't talked about exciting stuff for a while.
Right. It might be, you know what?
It might be a breath of fresh air.
If we follow USA hockey, which if we were to do the Olympics, that is what we would do.
Yeah. Not Russia.
Well, Russia's not in it, thankfully, because you don't want Panarin getting hurt. You don't want, I thought of that actually, although Chris is going to kill me for that comment. But, now, Chris has said, we go back? This is why I love, but I hate Chris.
Yeah.
Remember, go to his comment. Remember when Mike Sullivan couldn't win the one above it? We couldn't win game 81 or 82 to get in the playoffs when facing lottery teams. Yes, Chris, I remember that. I believe they were playing Florida. No, Chicago. They had to beat Chicago and they lost. So,
oh boy.
Dennis is saying Daryl for Gretzky trade HTC announced today at 10:20 at 12:10 p.m. That is a beer league exclusive there if you follow us. I don't usually look forward. So a pinch of feud. I don't usually look forward to the time off from hockey, but right now I think we all could use it. I agree. To get a 2-week break from the Rangers is not the worst thing at all. So, all right. So that's where we are with the Rangers. The NFL. Jeff Adelson is asking for a Super Bowl pick. I don't know. We'll do it today. We may do it next week, but I don't think we're going to surprise you with our pick. Hint, hint. I can't stand, right?
Yep. I already know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
I can't stand how the Patriots are in the Super Bowl.
Hey, you know what? If you like the Jets, and Ed Maturko is in the chat, he's a season ticket holder. Why he wastes his time to go sit in the upper decks on cold days is beyond me. Mm-hmm. If you're a Jets fan, right? Mm-hmm. You've watched your team try to rebuild and can't get out of their way. They have not improved. They have not improved in 16 years. I watched the Patriots have 2 down years, so much so that I am a moron because last year I posted a great graphic of that we've all lived to see the Patriots be back in poverty. And now a year later, they're in the Super Bowl. But what bothers me is the way they got there. Like they went to Denver. I don't know what Sean Payton's doing. They didn't even have Bo Nix. It's not that they had a cakewalk because that would be taking away stuff from them. That's not fair. Mm-hmm. But I just hate it. All I rooted for in the playoffs. I wanted Buffalo to win for my wife because my wife likes the Bills. That didn't happen. Obviously, they never win. But then my only other wishes were that the Eagles didn't make it or the Patriots. That was it. Yeah. Like if the Super Bowl was the Seahawks and let's say the Texans or anything like that, I wouldn't like I would be into the game because I wouldn't have a rooting interest. Now I have to watch the Super Bowl like with a vested interest.
So like people are saying, it's not just us, people are actually saying this was the easiest run to get to the Super Bowl in the history. Like if you look at their schedule, their strength of schedule is ridiculous.
It's annoying. The whole Drake May thing is annoying. Like, I didn't really know who you were, and now all of a sudden you're good, and you're 24, so you're going to be good for 10 years and only get better. And Mike Vrabel is a good coach, which you knew because he was good in Tennessee, and the Jets tried to get him, and then he interviewed with the Jets last year, and he only did it to drive the price up when he went to the Patriots the next day. Like, it's just a mess.
Yep.
So you finally have your Super Bowl matchup in the Seahawks and the Patriots, which now this week is the first week, and I understand like the NFL won't like this, but it's the first week without football, but they won't like it because the Pro Bowl is there. Who cares about the Pro Bowl?
Well, they destroyed it themselves. Like, no one wants to watch a flag football game. Like, make it a real game.
And then I say this every year when we do MYPB. The first Sunday after the Super Bowl is awful because you don't have football. And you are used to being spoiled for the last like 21 straight Sundays, 22 straight Sundays, and then you have nothing. It is freezing cold. You will not even have the NHL because it'll be an Olympic break. And if you had the NHL, you'd be miserable because the Rangers are there. You kind of get excited for pitchers and catchers if you're into baseball, but it's still such a long way away. Yeah, Dennis is right. Pickleball.
Yeah.
Pickleball.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the answer.
There you go.
And my wife, who plays pickleball, did see
Wow,
Dennis's favorite idol last night at pickleball. I forgot to tell him.
Allen?
No, Kevin Jurek was at pickleball last night. And they played. So the National Pickleball League, sponsored by Donnie Odell, another beer league legend. Nice. So we will give our Super Bowl pick next week. But I mean, if you know my hatred of one of the teams, I don't think you will know. I don't think you'll be surprised.
Your clue. My clue is I might have to dust off a jersey.
Yes, actually, you should. You did text me about it. We won't say what it is. But I think next week, if you're going to dust that jersey off, I think you should be wearing it.
Okay, I'll bring it next week.
Why would you not be wearing it next week?
Yeah, I'll wear it next week.
Because next week, here's what we have to do.
I want the good luck to come. I don't want to bring bad luck.
Here's what we have to do next week. We're going to have to review 2 Islander games, which to me, one is definitely a loss. I mean, they're not sweeping that series because you also are not playing quick back-to-back. So that's not going to be pretty. They go to Pittsburgh on Saturday. That's probably not pretty either. And Dan Muse, who we all got on, speaking of Ranger fans for being such a terrible hire, is doing pretty darn well out there. So we may need some optimism next week when we talk the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. I can't find the quote. I can't find the comment, but it was, here we go. If we go 14-4-1 the next 19 games, are we back in the game?
If you go what?
In the next 19 games.
Yeah.
If we go 14-4-1, are we back in it?
The Rangers?
Yeah.
Rangers are not capable of going 14-4-1.
Okay.
They're not away games. They're not built. Speaking of which, did you see the away games? By the way, this is where like the internet puts stuff out and they don't think, right? They announced that Harry Styles is doing a residency at MSG. I guess it's like next summer, next fall. So someone put out a graphic and then, like people reshare it so it gains traction, that there is a chance that because of Harry Styles, that the Rangers will not have a home game at MSG next year until November. That is so stupid.
It doesn't make any sense.
First off, Harry Styles is not there 7 days a week. The NHL would not allow, the Rangers, first off, would not allow there not to be preseason games because that's where they make their money by screwing season ticket holders by charging them full price for a game that you're watching people from Hartford play. So they're not losing out on that, and they will schedule around it. So I like Dennis's idea, which is maybe the Rangers should do a residency outdoors because if you remember, the Rangers are 6-0, right? Pump it up. We should make shirts. Actually, we need to finalize that other shirt thing.
It's up.
It's up.
I'll show you first if you want to see it.
So, but we need to also probably we should do a shirt. I like Dennis's idea with the banner, but we should do it as a shirt.
Yeah.
Like 6-0 all time outdoors. We're gonna do that. We're gonna find something.
Winter Classic champions.
Yeah, we are. So
before we go, one last topic because it's kind of crazy. Now, me and you, we're not too fond of the Patriots, but I find it absolutely wild that Bill Belichick wasn't inducted to the Hall of Fame.
So I hate Bill Belichick. I really do. how that guy does not get in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot.
Like, what?
I read this morning that what's the guy's name? I forgot who, maybe Bill Polian. Someone said to the writers they should forcefully not get him in the next for a year extra as payback for Spygate and Deflategate. I just read that before we went live, that people were conspiring with the writers. Now, again, I'm not saying I agree with it. Yeah. And look, I hate Bill Belichick. I went to school up in that city. Yeah. Him with the stupid sweatshirt, and now he's dating a 20-something year old, and he's 70, whatever. 100%. I am not a fan of Bill Belichick at all. Yeah. However,
how many rings does he have?
I mean, it is
just that fact alone.
It is ridiculous. And again, I hate Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
But how he is not in the Hall of Fame is beyond me.
Like, how does that even happen?
I don't know.
How did that? Who has more Super Bowl rings? Who has the most Super Bowl rings
as a coach? I think he may be second to Lombardi, or if he isn't, he's close.
Let's find out. Bill Belichick holds a record for most Super Bowl rings as a coach with a total of 8.
Yeah.
6 as a head coach and 2 as a defensive coordinator.
Now, again,
we hate
Ed Baturko, who's a Jet fan. I don't know what you think, Ed. You can tell me, because, I mean, I like the Jets too. But how he's not in is beyond me.
Well, it's like self-defense too, because like if you're not letting him in, when we get our mega Jets coach that wins 10 Super Bowl rings, you're not going to let him in. Like how? I thought the prerequisite was like 2 Super Bowl wins, and you're like, it's a cakewalk. He's got 8 Super Bowl rings. Like
yep.
What?
Yep.
What?
I get it. And now we're getting, as we talk about like him cheating, we get the HTC. You see the HTC cheaters? Joe cheated. We all know Joe cheated.
Oh my God.
It's beer league hockey coming into the thing. Joe cheated. All right. So we thank the Bamboozle Project as always for their sponsorship of the show today. We thank DraftKings as well. Go to the Bamboozle Project. Promo code MYPB. The Rangers home and home with the Islanders. If the Rangers were good and the Islanders, they are decent, this would be a really exciting 2 days. Like home and home, you'd be really into it. I don't know.
14-4-1. That's all we got to do.
That's it. You and Dennis believe this team is going 14-4.
I got to get a reverse panic button then.
You do. But
button.
But dust off that jersey next week.
Yes, the jersey will come next week.
Until then, we will talk to you next week. Thank you for listening.